Well, decided that I'd make it back on for now and do a little bit more because right now the last video I recorded as I record this one is uploading to Amazon Photos. The last two, the ones before that, they were already downloaded to my computer from Amazon Photos, and this is one where I'm going to show a little ways as to how the work shall come along, and we shall make our way through all this and then make it so we'll see a little brighter days, brighter nights to work along to this. At this moment, we've got the ways that we have started about in the middle of the underside of the tail, and where we're going to come along, make a little stitch along here, along this way, and so I say that this is going to be a little bright time in our lives to show how we're going to work along this thing, make it so we'll see a little world coming our way, make it so we'll brighten the lives of those we all come around, and then just try to make it along here. This is where we're going to go next. We've already kind of made these stitch lines along the tip of the tail, and we're coming back up this way, and we're going to go a little further, make it so we're going to get up towards where the stitchery at the end is, and make it so we're going to try the line to make it where it's going to come its way right in, and then we're going to get further along, make it so we'll see a little ways, and then it's all going to happen up to the way that we come about this to show how the work shall make its way in, and this is how it is all going to be. Of course, there's a knot in the thread. Sometimes that's just easy to pull through the fabric, depending on where you're at. And then, finally, just make the line just like that, where it shall just come right on through, and then we see that it's just coming down to the piece of art that it is. Wanted to tell you about the young lady who gave me the idea to make these foxes. I mean, she's a potter. She makes a lot of pottery. I've bought a few of her pottery pieces. She owns a little company called 3 Lick Pottery that's in Harrisburg Road. That's just something that wanted to tell you about. There's been a little ways we've kind of helped each other along the way. Probably kind of done a few shows together. We did one at Lancaster Baptist Church to start with, and then we did one we kind of did a few chicken swap shows together. We did one at Journey Church, so that's just kind of a few of the ways we've come along with our work, made it so it just kind of helped each other out. And then I say that these little works we do, they're coming the ways we need them to be. Unfortunately, we got another knot in the thread up here, so kind of gotta get rid of that. I say that this is going to be a moment where we're going to kind of try to make the next line in the work. We're going to go up here to where the tail is centered, and if we had a long enough piece of thread, we'd probably go a little higher than this, but this is about as long a way as this piece of thread is probably going to go. So we just had a little strand come off of it, and so we just sometimes when you got an individual strand, it's just so hard to really get it right in the right place where it ought to be and where it ought to go. And so we kind of try to sew it along, make it so we see a little brighter image in all we do. Oh, bless the world, I say. Kind of sew along, make it just its way, make it so we see a little better futures in it. I say that these little stitches are working their way in, making it so we see a little brighter days in our futures. And sometimes it's like hard to keep from using the same words over and over again, but when we come down to it, we kind of got the little work we take and where we take it and what it does and where we go with it, and that's what I just want to say to come along to this. And in some places I've gone, things have gone well, things have done well. We've really seen how days have really seemed to have gotten better. Some stuff I need to get around to, I don't know when I will, but you know, it's just times when we all got the same little things to deal with, and they all just kind of say we're all in the same storm, but we're in different boats. So it's just a time when we see how reality just changes us a little bit. We don't really see the way we've seen things for years, the way they've always had to work for years. And sometimes the little times in our lives, we make our ways along and see how much brighter in time everything can be. There's the ways this comes along, and I say we got little stitchery to do. We're making it along this way. We got little stitchery to do and taking it further along. We got a little ways to go up the back of the fox, and then we're not going to make it all the way up here with only this much thread, but surely we got enough that we can take it a little long, a little further, and see how this is just going to be its thing. And then how about we go as far as we have up here to where we are, and it's always okay to sew things in little parts at a time if that's the only distance that your thread can really go. And so I say that this is just the next little step along the way to where we can just brighten how we do, see how we do, work like we do, and Then a little ways we come, little ways we go, and seeing how it's all going to turn out when we do, this is what we finally shall come down to having. A little place where just a little knot comes at the end to make off the place where we started on the tail, and then I say probably got a little ways up the back to go here, so might go ahead, make this little knot in the center of the back near the shoulders with the thread. We don't know how long or how far this is going to go, but at least we're getting off to a good start, and we don't want to waste any thread, so we just use it wherever it starts, wherever it begins, and just let it keep going up to its very end. I say that this little time we can make a little thing, brighten it a little bit to where, oh, a little joy in our hearts shall make us all see a little brighter time in our lives up until the point that we get this all done and things, and then it's going to be sooner or later closer to where we get to the end. And this little thing, it could go on a long way, could go on a long time, and then finally there's a little place where we end up making the mark. And so as for this sewing to come along, there's a place we're going to come back to and take care of later, but this is where we see what it is, what it's going to be, what it's going to come down to when we finally get down to the final thing and make it all to where we all just kind of see a little brightness. Finally, there's probably a little place here on the back that hasn't been sewn along yet, so we're gonna take care of that little step and then try to get it right in the place where it ought to be. Do a little thing. We've already made certain steps to come along here, and then we've got the rest of this whole finished sewing up here, make it so we come along, make it so we see little things, and then finally just work our way about it, and then we're going to do what we can do here, finally tie the knot and bring it to the end. There's another thing I'm about to show you here. I'll say that we finally got that little bit of the end of the thread taken off the needle, and got another little tiny step to take. I will tell you all that the part where you turn the things out hasn't been done on this one yet, but it's been done on another one. I've demonstrated in other videos the way I take those knitting needles and use them as little stuffing tools, as if to turn the things in and out, and so you've already kind of seen how that works. And there's a little way that we're taking this along now, and we are finally tying another knot in the thread through the eye of the needle, and taking it to where we come and make another little stuffing place. I'll mention to you now that just so happened I had some stuffing here in this box left over from where I had it here to demonstrate how I did those gingerbread men I made from socks. But this is how we're pushing it on in, making it so we see a little brighter ends, brighter ways, brighter noises. Tell you all that this is what we finally do in the end to make it so it's going to see a little ways we do a little good little things. I tell y'all that this is just one thing we do, and then finally we're going to make it where we're going to see a little ways that this shall come along, and so and so and so. I tell y'all that this is just what it's going to be, and finally got a little place here where we've stuffed the head in. There's some things we're going to do here before we stuff the ears, and one example is we're going to kind of put the needle through here and sew the eyes in place. And apparently we got it a little crooked here, not in the place where it needs to be, but try to get it a little bit closer to where it's nearer to the eyes, and try to get it so we can get the thread in, make it all go down, and see how it's going to turn out for us in the end. We got the little ways to go in here, make it so we got a little line to go in, come out the other way, and then we're going to sew a little hole in there, put the eye straight in, make it so we see a little eye hole right here. Apparently I might not be using the best thread because it is a little bit darker than the denim itself, but couldn't care less because this is just nothing more than a video demonstration. I've got the ways it works along here, and then finally get to the point where we all just see the little pattern that we take to sew it right on through. There we go. We're going to stuff little holes in here. I say for this one around here, we're going to kind of put it in and try to get the ears stuffed up. And we use the little knitting needle, which is otherwise known as the stuffing tool, to do that little part. And finally we get it in. It's going to come its way in, make it so we'll see how it's going to come out, come to us in what we do. I say that there's going to be another little ear to stuff again. Got to put another piece of stuffing in to go down to that, and finally get the ear where it's going to be in place, and finally get it so it's going to come to the place where it ought to be and needs to be, and so finally get it so it's going to be right there in place to stuff the little ear together. So we see how this is turning out and about for us and finally get down to the point where the ear is going to be stuffed. Now we're going to, before we end the video, kind of go a little bit further up into the head, into the face, and stuff a little more in. Try to get it a little further down in. Make it so we just see a little foxy hole and a little birdie nest, and I say this is just a place where we get it to what it ought to be and needs to be. Does had to take a little strand out from where it kind of got in the wrong place. Now I'd say in another video we're going to demonstrate a little bit more how we stuff it the rest of the way, and maybe even how we sew the little stuff hole closed. But I'd say yes, for now we're pretty much finished here. So just want to say thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.